Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today's video is a result of me procrastinating filming another video because I really should finally be filming my Brandon Sanderson Sucks at World Building video because I did want to get it out before the end of March, because in April I'm gonna be rereading Words of Radiance to prepare for the live show that Scylla, Steph and me are gonna do at the beginning of May. But we're obviously not doing that, and so what I did today was, because I forgot, I think it was Scylla yesterday sent me a link, or sent a bunch of us in a group chat a link to a readathon, and I've really been feeling doing readathons again lately, just, you know, doing prompts and different stuff. And you already know from the title of the video, the readathon is the Tomes and Treasures readathon, which is a D&D inspired readathon, which, as far as I gathered, is intended to be a readathon that's gonna be, you know, multiple rounds, and it's kind of gonna be a continuation. Like, each round is gonna be a continuation of the adventure, basically. D&D style, you know, rather than the readathon just repeating every year. I don't know if that made sense, but that is why I will link the announcement videos of the creators of the readathon down below. And the creators are The Creepy Geek and Ashley's Bookish Life. And so I will leave both of their announcement videos down below. Also, because it fits, I just had to have a little companion right here today, which I got this fidget dragon, 3D printed fidget dragon at the BookCon in Leipzig, and I love him, so he's gonna stay on my shoulder for this video. Anyway, basically what this first round of the readathon is going to be is it will be the creation of the character, and for like each part of the character you have to do a different prompt. The readathon officially runs for the entirety of April, but you have the time to create your character or to continue finishing prompts until the next readathon. Or not the next readathon, yeah, the next readathon, the next round starts, hopefully. So yeah, let's get into it. And let's start with race. I decided to go with Tiefling, even though, by the way, I have been playing D&D for like 3/4 of a year now. I have never been at a table as a player. I have jumped right into DMing because that's the type of person I am. However, I don't know why, I don't think I would ever actually create a Tiefling character. I do not know why. I have no clue. For some reason I have an aversion against Tiefling characters. Like, not other players having them, but like doing one myself or playing one myself. This is going to be a very rambly video. I already had a kind of prepared TBR for April, so I had to work with that. And so Tiefling it is, and the prompt for Tiefling is read a book with LGBTQIA+ rep. And for that I chose, where is it? A German book, and it's Schreib den Namen deiner Mutter by Evan Tempest. This is a contemporary / literary fiction novel. I got this at Leipzig because I saw the author talk about the book and I was kind of really into what they talked about. The author is trans. I do not know what their pronouns are in German. I'm fairly sure they're non-binary. I know they're trans, so I'm just gonna use they them pronouns when I talk about them in English. But yeah, this is a contemporary literary fiction novel, and it's about Alex, who is from this very provincial town in Germany, and they're going back there, and so it's kind of about this confrontation of Alex with their mother again, after some years or some time. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm really interested. It's also not that long. It's like under 300 pages. So under 200. So I should get through it quite quickly. Next we have Class. With Class even though this is a readathon, again, I've never played anything, but I know that once I play some things, I'm gonna stay with martial classes, and probably even martial classes who only have some subclasses that have some magic stuff, spell stuff, because spells are too much of a hassle. So for this one I went with Fighter, and the prompt is a book that deals with a battle, be that mental or, you know, an actual physical battle. And since I already mentioned it, I have to read it in April, I'm gonna go with Words of Radiance. It's so big. I want to make myself suffer. Yeah. I think you all know what this is about. I'm not gonna enjoy this, but I will get through it. Okay? I will get through it. The depressing thing about the reread is that all along, when I still loved the series, Way of Kings was my favorite of the books. So I basically know that the best part of this reread has already happened. So next is the background, and for that I chose Folk Hero, and the prompt for the background is basically just find a book that fits the vibe. And for Folk Hero, the explanation or the definition is a person who is greatly admired for their achievements by the ordinary people of a country, region. And so I thought I don't have a better book on my shelves currently than Die Farbe der Rache by Cornelia Funke, which is the like more than 10 years later published sequel to the Inkheart trilogy, and the two main characters in this, if I remember correctly, are Dustfinger and the Black Prince. The Black Prince is a very stereotypical folk hero archetype already. Dustfinger is more so the reluctant hero archetype. But yeah, there's a lot of folk hero type characters in these stories, so I think this book definitely fits. Then we have the upbringing environment. Read a book set in one of the below environments, and for that I chose On the Road, so a book that's set on the road. And for that one I chose Nama's Curse by Jacqueline Carey, which is the second book in the third trilogy within the Kushiel's Legacy world. And the read-along that I'm doing on my book club is still mostly going on. There's like a handful of people that are still reading the books, and most of us are really enjoying them still. And I know that this second book follows our main character as she is going after someone else, so even if I haven't read it yet, I assume that she's gonna be on the road a lot in this book. Then we have Deity, and for that I chose The God of Life with the prompt a person on the cover. For this prompt I chose Ali and Nino by Kurban Said, which is the book that I'm reading for my Read Around the World in April. There's a lot of complications around this book where I'm like, it's like it only counts halfway and I might have to find another book in the future, but I'll talk about that once I've finished reading that book and like in my April wrap up and stuff. But yeah, obviously person on the cover. This is, by the way, this is like a modern classic, a classic. It was written in the 1930s. For my alignment I chose Chaotic Good, and the like prompts for the alignments are to read books with different colors on the cover, and like each alignment has their own color, so like chaotic, neutral, lawful, and then good, neutral, evil. They have their own alignments, own colors, and then you can combine those colors to get your alignment. I hope that made sense. Anyway, I chose Chaotic Good, and the colors were orange and yellow. And for that one I chose Fathom Folk by Eliza, is it Eliza Chan? I believe that's the author's name. I know probably the one that I put up here will seem like it doesn't fit the prompt, however I am getting the Illumicrate edition, and while there isn't yellow on the cover, there is orange on the cover if I remember correctly, and there is yellow on the sprayed edges. So I'm gonna count it anyway. So, and the last thing left to do is the equipment. For armor, I chose medium armor, which is continuing a series, and for that I chose The Brides of High Hill by Niveau, which is the 5th and last book in the Singing Hills novella series, which I have an arc for. And I am very excited to finish the series. Niveau obviously is one of my all-time favorite authors. I so far have decided to not pick a book for a shield because, to be honest, I just, yeah, I couldn't think of a book. Also, whenever I do, you know, create a D&D character that I will never end up playing because I am currently still the DM, I always pick characters that don't have shields, and with fighters, I do really love the like two-handed fighting style, so, you know, maybe I'll just keep the shield anyway. And for the weapon types, I chose for one of the weapons piercing damage type, a book you think will make you cry. For that I have another reread, and I have The Queens of Innish-Lea by Tessa Gretton. This book made me cry the first time around, so I am sure it'll make me cry again the second time around. I talked about this in my recent video on my favorite standalone novels, and it really made me want to reread it. And since Tessa Gretton is a trans author, I thought during April, during the Trans Rights Readathon, it will be the perfect time. And then the second weapon I have is slashing type weapon, a book that would end a reading slump, a refreshing book, which I don't know that before I start reading the book, but the book that I have big hopes for in that regard, so I put it on my list for that prompt, is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, which is another book that I want to read for the Trans Rights Readathon. And yeah, with that said, that is it for my TBR. Not quite, actually. I almost forgot. I still have to do the rolling challenge. So first of all, look at my gorgeous, beautiful dice tray. I also got this in Leipzig, which, like, by what are they called? A small company that's called Cat in the Dice Bag, or Cats in the Dice Bag, which is like they're dice makers, and they make those beautifully embroidered dice trays. So yeah, and I actually have 2 die right here, or 2 dice, because if you know my TBR card, you know my TBR card is like 2 levels, and I realized perfectly that both levels currently have 20 books on them. So I will first roll a d4, and if it's like an uneven number, then I'll look at the upper level of my TBR card. If it's an even number, I'll look at the lower level, and after that I will roll my d20. So let's start. So it's, you're gonna have to trust me, I don't think you can see it actually. It's a 3, so I will look at the upper level, and let's see which number. A nat 1. So that's fun, but at least I don't have to count for a long time. I'm sorry, I think I came close very suddenly right now, but I had to lean over. But the one is After the Forest by Kel Woods, which is a retelling of, or not a retelling, it's like a continuation of the Hansel and Gretel story after they escaped the witch and have grown up, kind of, and Hansel is an alcoholic, Gretchen is trying to just keep everything together, and it's another Illumicrate book that I have. So yeah, that was now it for the TBR. Let's see how many of these books I will actually be able to read in April. But yeah, tell me in the comments down below if you are intending on joining the Readathon as well. If you enjoyed this video, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and also maybe subscribing. All the links to my social media, as well as to my book club of Queens, Witches and Valkyries, where I read one adult fantasy book, sometimes science fiction, written by a woman or genderqueer person per month, will be left linked down below, so go and check those out as well. In April we are reading Fathom Folk, and so yeah, with all of that said, I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!